For almost 36 years, these two brothers have sporadically made headlines. Their parents killed in cold blood. A horrific murder defended by siblings as a reaction to abuse. The American society and many across the world divided over their trial and punishment. Now, almost 36 years of build-up later, court has shut down the discourse in a matter of 2 days. The Menendez brothers will remain in jail. When and how did this case reignite a demand for their release? In April this year, a judge in Los Angeles ruled that the jailed brothers can proceed with resentencing in an effort to get out of prison. Both Erik and Lyle were on life sentence without parole, but the April order granted them the possibility of parole. Back and forth continued, with pressure from the prosecution to not grant the killer duo an opportunity. The hearing for resentencing faced repeated delays. Finally, last week, a parole board heard both cases separately. But it did not end well for the Menendez brothers. Within a span of 24 hours, the duo was denied parole in their respective hearings. To Lyle, the parole commissioner said that he still posed an unreasonable risk to public safety. This happened on August 21st. The very next day, on August 22nd, the board also denied parole to Erik Menendez after a 12-hour-long hearing. The siblings murdered their parents in 1989 in what was the most watched investigation and trial at the time. The crime scene was horrific, and denial from both brothers very calculated and very chilling. The case even today draws strong contrasting opinions from people all across America. Let's break down the entire saga surrounding the Menendez brothers. The crime scene unfolded at a lavish Beverly Hills mansion in California on August 20th, 1989. Jose and Kitty Menendez, a powerful entertainment executive, and his wife were found slaughtered at close range with shotguns. The murders shook Hollywood and gripped eyeballs across the US. Both Erik and Lyle claimed that they were not home when their parents were murdered. In the beginning, they blamed the killings on a mafia, and initially, investigators bought the story. But something changed within weeks of the gruesome crime. For both brothers, life had suddenly changed for the better. The duo began living a lavish lifestyle, complete with expensive purchases, flashy cars, designer watches, and whatnot. The money came from a life insurance policy of their parents. This raised suspicion, but there wasn't enough evidence to attach the murders to Erik and Lyle. Until October that year, when guilt caught up to one of the brothers. Then 18-year-old Erik had confessed to the murders in a session with his therapist. The conversations were all recorded on tape and eventually found their way to the police. The brothers were arrested and charged with first-degree murder. 4 years later, the trial of Menendez brothers began in 1993. By this time, their story had changed. It became a claim of self-defense. The attorneys painted the siblings as victims of years-long abuse and violence perpetrated by their father and enabled by their mother. But prosecution fought the case on a clear charge. They accused Erik and Lyle of calculated murder with the sole motive of getting their hands on a large family fortune. Divided jurors could not reach a conclusive verdict. The case ended with a deadlocked jury and a mistrial. 2 years later, the second trial began, but this time, the abuse testimony was limited. In March 1996, the brothers were found guilty and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Now, almost 20 years after the original verdict and 4 months after a reduced sentence to offer parole, the guilty sibling duo is still hanging on to hope for freedom. In 3 years' time, the Menendez brothers can apply for parole again. But even then, the grey areas remain. The questions unanswered. Was it truly revenge killing driven by years of abuse? Or was it a well-planned, merciless murder just for money?